of it. I said, sure, I'm going to be in town. Let's do it. I'm happy to do a civil debate, a conversation. So I go there. I'm backstage, and you've got, Jim Jordan, you got Ro Khanna, Stephen A. Smith, Bill O'Reilly, Chris Cuomo. They're all having these very nice
This is over at Kennedy Center.
Kennedy Center last night. They're all having these very nice conversations. It's all very civil. It's very chill. And then all of a sudden, my segment comes up, and they put me with this Midas Touch kid, Adam Mockler.
Midas Toucher.
He puts the mock in Mockler. And we talked backstage. He was very nice. And, I was like, okay, we'll talk about new media. We'll talk about the importance of that and then what's Turning Point doing. I thought it was going to be just like this. This kid comes in and he's like, you need to disavow these young Republicans from New York. I mean, it came at me real hot. I had no idea that I was walking into that situation.
Wait, can I just say, by the way, on the Fetterman piece? So Fetterman comes out. He says, I'm not going to call conservatives fascists. All right, that was the big thing last night. What do we see in Axios this morning? The Democrats are now moving to oust Fetterman. They're going to primary him in Pennsylvania.
Oh, my goodness. So you are no longer allowed to live civilly with your political opponents. You have to claim.
And by the way, he has a 93% Democrat voting record. So like he votes with the Democrats all the time on every single issue.
It's not good enough.
But it's not good enough because he won't call Republican. And this shows you, I'm sorry, but we're on Charlie's show, right? This shows you the mindset and the ecosystem that leads to a heinous act like this, because they demand this theological fealty to, you must say the words. You must say the words. And if you don't say that, then they're going to throw you out of office.
Well, since we're on Fetterman, let's play that clip 270.
I know and I love people that voted for President Trump, but they are not fascists. They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution, those things. We really got to turn the temperature down.
And for that, he's getting basically primaried by his own party.
Right, and politically speaking, so, I mean, obviously, we're both from Pennsylvania. So Trump wins Pennsylvania, but then Fetterman also won Pennsylvania. So he's in this same boat with Whitmer, Josh Shapiro, a number of people who are Bill Evers in Wisconsin, who are represent states as Democrats in places where Trump won. You see this also with John Ossoff in Georgia, of course, in Arizona as well, which Charlie, of course, is very close to.
Yep. And this is a perfect example of this clip I'm about to play from Jimmy Kimmel of the current state of the Democrat Party. This guy is still lying. He almost lost his job. As a matter of fact, he probably will, let's be honest, because his ratings are falling off a cliff. And
because he's awful.
And
because
he's not funny.
Because he's awful.
He's not funny. His ratings are falling off a cliff. His show will die the way it's supposed to die, which is because it's too expensive and it's unsuccessful. So that's fine. But meanwhile, despite getting a pretty stern slap on the wrist, we'll call it a slap on the wrist, that's about what it was, he's still out there saying Antifa is not real and that Trump supporters are domestic terrorists. And if you want to know why conservatives are getting so upset about the rise of left-wing violence, it's because of this rhetoric that it put this sheer sheen of respectability because it shows up on the nightly news or it shows up on late-night talk shows. 275.
Antifa is just short for anti-fascist. It's not a club you can join. There are no membership dues, but they have matching signs. Okay, well, I guess we better round up these domestic terrorists, too. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. Spread it around. There's no chaos in Portland. None. There is no chaos in Chicago. There was no chaos in Los Angeles. They're pretending there's chaos as a pretense for a military takeover.
I find this highly offensive on so many levels. And to the point that maybe I might just throw to you, Jack, but I will say this. There is chaos in Portland and Chicago. Go try living in the South Side. Go try working at a federal ICE facility. Go try being a journalist and covering the events without getting a black eye or getting a liquid cement milkshake thrown at your head. So, yeah, by the way, and the whole point of Antifa, Jack, and you know this better than anybody, is that it is intentionally decentralized. It is intentionally this amorphous, flexible, loose network of left-wing militants.
Right, and they certainly do have tactical flow. We know there's financiers. We know there's the rest of it. But what Jimmy Kimmel is doing, I remember, This is playing towards that slim base that he still has left, and he has to keep repeating like recursive thoughts over and over again. We are not violent. They are violent. We are not violent. And I hate to say it, but as the left-wing violence continues throughout this country, we just had bloody September. Who knows what will be next?
Have the great Coach Tommy Tuberville on the line. Coach, welcome to the show.
Hey, Andrew, how you doing? How's it going?
I'm doing all right, Coach. Thank you so much. And I want to start this. By the way, I'm also joined by Jack Posobiec. I know you can't see him on camera just yet, but
I'm here, Coach. I'm here.
Yeah, there we go. There we got the three up. Coach, this is your first time joining the show since everything happened. So I want to start there. There's a lot we need to get to, but let's start there. Charlie loved you, Coach. He believed in you. He knew you were one of the fighters in Washington. Now you're working on a gubernatorial campaign in the great state of Alabama. But maybe just to start there, reflect on what this month has meant to you and kind of where you're at.
Yeah, I met Charlie 6-7 years ago. He helped me in my campaign for the Senate seat. And we got to be good friends. I saw him at the White House a couple of times during the campaign. And just over the last year, since President Trump got elected, he and I were put on the Air Force, basically the Academy Board, and to try to work with Air Force Academy to try to help our young leaders of the future. And Charlie and I had several conversations, and we were really outspoken on a lot of things that need to be changed. And again, Charlie was he was one of a kind, and you always enjoy talking to him because you'd always learn something. I learned something a long time ago. You speak a third of the time, you listen 2/3 of the time. And if I could have listened all day to Charlie, but it's a shame of what's happened. Seemed like this yesterday, but his memory will go on, and his teaching, because he did so much for young kids. I spent my life on college campuses, and Lord have mercy, how much we needed somebody like Charlie. And now Erica and you guys and everybody on board going in that direction. We have to continue that ministry on college campuses. That's where it starts. That's where we're going to change our country, and Charlie was on the right track.
Now, something else you and Charlie shared, and I've mentioned this on the show before, is that towards the end of his life, Charlie, probably more than any other issue, raised the alarm bells about the rise of Islam in the West. Obviously, he had just visited London and the UK, saw it up close and personal, realized half the TV channels were in a different language, mostly Middle Eastern languages. I think that's safe to say. And it really disturbed him. And then we saw these different communities within the United States trying to put together Muslim-centric cultures and sort of, having mosques and having an HOA that was basically paying towards a mosque. And Epic City, I think is what they called it, in Texas. But there's other examples. Dearborn, Michigan. There's a rising tide of Islam in the West. And, Coach, you are introducing legislation to ban Sharia law in the United States. Tell us about it.
We have freedoms. We have a constitution. And you have the right to come here and be a part of this country. The thing that you don't have the right to do is to attack our constitution, other religions, speak out against America, speak out against Americans, death to America. That's wrong. Sharia law is not going to fit here. It got no chance. Charlie and I had talked about this recently before his death, and he was starting on that campaign. I'm going to continue that campaign in his name, because we have a great country, but we can't, if you don't assimilate with America and love our flag and love our people and put your foot forward to help make this country greater instead of downgrade it, you have no place here. So we need to ban Sharia law, and we need to make sure that anything that's done towards American people, if spoken out against, I don't care what it is. If you speak out against this country, and right now it's mostly comes from radical Islamists, then you don't deserve to be here. So it's time to make a stand. Charlie started it. We're going to continue on with it, and we're going to stand up for what we believe in, and that's the greatest country on the face of the earth.
Well said, sir. I've commented on this that I didn't even really internalize the fact that there was a government shutdown going on. This is something that you are actively involved in, being a part of the Senate. I got to DC and it's like, oh, I can feel the shutdown here. This is like the one place where you can feel it. I understand that eventually some of these paychecks for our servicemen, might get held out, but luckily we found like a stopgap for that in the short term. Tell us about this shutdown. Are you optimistic it's going to end soon, or are the Democrats just going to not be moved, not be budged in this fight for health care for, I don't know, illegals?
Yeah, well, here's what you got to understand. It's the craziest thing I've ever been around. And I've been around a lot of crazy stuff in the last 5 years in the Biden administration. And now, thank goodness, President Trump got elected. But this is the budget that we've had for the last 4 years. And every Democrat has voted for it. Now, all of a sudden, President Trump is not in office. He's trying to make changes. He's trying to get his head above water in terms of what the Biden administration did to our country executive branch. So he's trying. He's doing everything he possibly can. The problem is the Democrats don't like it. And so now they want to change the narrative. Okay, we want $1.5 trillion more in this budget. Wait a minute. We're spending $2 trillion more than American taxpayers send already. We're $2 trillion over the budget.
Did you say $1.3 trillion of additional spending for healthcare for illegals, able-bodied men and women, etc.?
Yeah, and take care of the healthcare that's going to rural hospitals, which is there's nothing more needed. Our healthcare, Obamacare ruined our healthcare system in this country. It was supposed to make it more affordable, more doctors, more nurses, more hospitals. It's done just the opposite. It has destroyed our healthcare system. So they've got a subsidy in there that was put in for COVID, which was fine. We might have needed it, but we don't need it anymore. It's made things more difficult for the American people. And so premiums are going to go up anyway because of inflation. But they're blaming the premiums that are going up on healthcare, on our insurance policies, on Republicans voting against this. That's not the case. So here's what's going to happen. I don't know whether we'll open it up again, but we're going to have this same conversation in December, and so 4 or 5 weeks from now, or at the end of November. And so the Democrats have lost their mind. If they don't want to pass it, that's fine. President Trump is going through the bloated government in Washington, D.C. He is furloughing and firing people that don't have anything to do. Now they got a job making $175,000. Sometimes, most of the time, they work from home. He is getting a correction that we have desperately needed in Washington, D.C.
I wonder if you can get somebody to get this barrel out of the crosswalk, please. There's Majestic. Bird, y'all need to come and get these damn scooters. I mean, this is gonna get run over by somebody's truck. And that one's gonna end up in North Island Avenue if you don't come get it.
Have our next guest here, Dr. Gad Saad, who is a great friend of the show, has been a great friend to Charlie Kirk. He is also a scholar. I want to get this title right because he is actually a new wonderful title, Dr. Gad Saad, Scholar at the Declaration of Independence Center for the Study of American Freedom at University of Mississippi. Is also the author of a bunch of amazing books, The Parasitic Mind. He's working on a new one. I want to talk to him about that. Dr. Saad, maybe comment really quickly. We've been told that American leadership on the world stage was coming to an end, that Trump was going to ruin America's standing in the world, and yet here he is pulling off win after win after win, achieving peace. Tie that into what it means for the West, that America's leadership is strong and robust, and we're leading the way.
Look, to go back to our earlier conversation where many Muslims say the West is a woman to be mounted, President Trump lives in the real world where he actually understands human nature. He may not call himself an evolutionary psychologist, but he is an evolutionary psychologist because throughout his long and successful life, he's had to deal with many people, whether it be in his real estate life or in his TV life, where his ability to succeed in those forums stems from his, understanding of human nature. And so having
people like Joe Biden and the others, super sweet and kind and empathetic diplomats who cross their legs like Justin Trudeau, might look nice because you could show off your really colorful socks, but that's not what really nasty folks around the world respect, right? So, I come from the Middle East. In the Middle East, we have the creed, right? Might is right, or as you probably, of course, know, the old term, if you wish to have peace, prepare for war. There are endless, military dictums that speak to the fact that it's nice to have a velvet glove while you're shaking someone's hands, but make sure that behind your back you have a really big stick, right? As you also know, speak softly but carry a big stick, right? So all of these maxims exist throughout history because the world doesn't exist in a utopia, in a democratic, progressive utopia. It exists in the real world where people respect might. And Donald Trump exemplifies that. That's why you're seeing win after win.
I want to play this other clip, Dr. Sad, because it's again, we're talking about this AOC Bernie town hall. Caroline Levitt's weighing in, saying we now have the two new leaders of the Democrat Party. Tough to argue with that observation. But she really struggles to give Trump credit for this peace deal in the Middle East. And I want to dive into what that says at a deeper level about our politics in this country. 261.
Maybe I'm wrong about the ceasefire in Gaza. Do you believe President Trump deserves credit for that?
Well, I find there have been several ceasefire announcements and developments that have happened over the past 2 years. As President Trump was on the plane back to the United States, there's already indications and questions about whether this ceasefire will hold.
But do you give him credit? Do you give him credit, though, for getting to this point where it did get those 20 hostages back home with their families?
In this particular development, yes, but we also know that President Trump was an obstacle to peace previously as well.
Dr. Sad, what does this tell us about the state of politics where we can't leave our domestic issues at the shoreline like we used to and sort of present a united front internationally?
I thank you for that question because in the way that I'm going to answer it, it shows the power of studying psychology and behavioral science. So here's the answer to your wonderful question. There is a great book by two French cognitive psychologists by name of Sperber and Mercier. The book is titled The Enigma of Reason, where they argued that our capacity to reason did not evolve in order to achieve some objective truth, but rather it evolved to win arguments. So that even when we are applying our faculty of reasoning, we are doing it in a tribal coalitional manner, right? So it doesn't matter if Andrew convinces me that my position is wrong, and therefore I will have the humility to say, thank you for correcting me, Andrew. You're right, and I was wrong. I will double down, triple down forevermore because my team can't lose. That's exactly what AOC is showing. She is showing that she's not an honest interlocutor. All that matters is that I don't give credit where credit is due. I can never accept the fact that Trump might have done something that was decent, and therefore I'm going to try to avoid giving him the due credit.
So I suppose, is it possible then that we are able to return to a point in this country where things like being an American are where what we see as our tribe? And this is one of the reasons that I think that Trump's defense of the American flag, fighting against the kneeling during the national anthem, during the Super Bowl and NFL games, that if you bring everyone under one umbrella of saying we're all American citizens, we may have disagreements on our SEC team and our Super Bowl team, or Andrew and I are crosswise because his Dodgers beat my Phillies in the
3-1
in the
darn near sweep.
Yeah, okay. All right, I remember. Thank you.
You didn't even make it interesting.
We had the one. Okay, it was 8-2 the one game. Anyway, we have too many men on base. But the point is, we can still all be American. And I think that it's the messing around with those nuts and bolts of the country that have gotten us to this place.
I recently had on my show Enes Kanter Freedom, the former NBA player, right, who retired after playing for Boston Celtics, right? Now, this guy is from Muslim background, But I don't care that he's Muslim, even though I don't have nice things to say about Islam, because he exemplifies the types of immigrants that we want in the United States or in the West. He comes to the United States and says, I want to be, to Jack's point, I want to be united under the common rubric called the United States. I'm Canadian, yet I'm at Ole Miss at a center called the Declaration of Independence Center for the Study of American Freedom, because I embody and I'd like to think I exemplify all of the values of American exceptionalism. So you're exactly spot on. No more hyphenated Americans. If you are American, you believe in our foundational principles, and then welcome in, my brother. If you don't let the door hit your face.